Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into the contentious world of electric vehicles, or EVs as they are commonly called. As you probably know by now, not all is sunshine and rainbows when it comes to EVs. Ford and GM, two titans of the auto industry, are facing some serious challenges where EVs are concerned, to say the very least. Is the dream of electric domination already going up in smoke? Let's buckle up and find out. Advocates of electric vehicle technology will point you no further than what does, or should that be doesn't, come out of the tailpipes of electric vehicles to prove their value and importance. Of course, EVs don't have tailpipes, but that's not important here. Of course, their electric motors don't produce any of the harmful emissions that internal combustion engine vehicles put out as they burn their fossil fuels. But if you think an EV is therefore much more environmentally friendly than vehicles with traditional engines, I've got a bridge and some swampland you might be interested in buying while we're here. You see, environmentalists, like many other people, like their facts and figures. Unfortunately, they only appear to like certain facts and figures that support their arguments, and there are plenty of others that don't support their argument for ditching our beloved internal combustion engines for toasters on wheels. I could go on for hours about how the electricity is generated that powers most EVs isn't green at all, how the manufacturing process is less eco-friendly than most gas and diesel vehicles, and how child slaves are forced to destroy the planet to mine the rare earth minerals required for those batteries. I could also discuss how impractical and expensive EVs are for most people, but all that's for another day. Let me know if you want more videos on those subjects, and I'll be happy to oblige. Today we're concentrating on the business of building and selling EVs, and how they could put many of our major automakers out of business if they continue to accept the browbeating they're getting from the US and other governments to produce them. Fact number 1. Both Ford and GM are bleeding money in their EV divisions. Ford expects to lose $2 billion this year, while GM's losses are estimated at $3 billion. Ouch. Even by the standards of those companies, we're already familiar with how it feels to lose a lot of money. Those are big numbers. And do you know why these auto giants are hemorrhaging so much money? That's right, you guessed it. EVs. Sales. Despite the hype, EV sales for these giants are far behind expectations. Ford managed to sell just 26,000 Mustang Mach-E's in 2023, a fraction of their overall target. GM's Chevy Bolt sold even fewer. In fact, if you delve into the financials related to the sale of any Ford and GM electric vehicles, you'll find them all pretty R-rated. You see, people just aren't buying them. And I mean that literally and figuratively. Obviously, some of them are being sold, but nowhere near enough to justify the vast sums invested in their development and production. The inventory is piling up, and so are the losses. On the whole, retail buyers don't want them, and most dealers don't want them either. Prices. Prices are a major roadblock. Base models for the F-150 Lightning and Chevy Silverado EVs start at nearly $50,000, putting them out of reach for many average car buyers. And if you want many of the features you're used to, prices can easily start heading towards $100,000. When you compare them to their combustion engine equivalents, it's hard to make any case for them beyond their zero emissions. Demand. Remember how the F-150 Lightning was supposed to be Ford's EV hero? Remember those videos of President Biden pawing one in a bid to convince everyone how the Lightning was the future of the F-Series? And yes, advanced orders were pretty impressive before the vehicles started rolling off the production lines. However, production issues kept it off the road for months, leaving dealers scratching their heads. GM's Ultium platform, their big EV bet, hasn't lived up to its promises either. Not everyone is ready to ditch gas just yet, and some of us never will be. Nearly 50% of EV buyers in the US are now switching back to hybrids, citing range anxiety and charging infrastructure concerns. And those are the people who at least like the idea of EVs enough to buy them in the first place. If existing owners are turning their backs on EVs, it's hard to see those sunny uplands politicians see where every vehicle on the road, or parked at the side of the road after running out of charge, is an electric one. Ford dealers are reportedly stuck with unsold EVs, a sure sign of weakening demand. And as it costs somewhere in the region of $1 million for a US dealer to be accredited to sell the Blue Oval's EVs, at least half of them don't want to bother. Can Ford and GM turn things around? They're cutting costs, streamlining production, and focusing on more affordable models. But is it enough? Unlikely, especially as the early demand for EVs was driven by fleets and rental companies, and even they are turning their backs on them. Hertz has already taken a massive bath on ditching a large part of its EV fleet early, and it won't be the last. Will government policies like tax breaks and charging infrastructure investments be enough to boost consumer adoption? Once again, unlikely. But perhaps the biggest threat to the auto industry doesn't come from consumers refusing to buy into the EV dream. It really comes from governments in the US, UK, Europe, and elsewhere imposing strict rules on how many of the vehicle they produce each year must be fully electric. The number are almost manageable at the moment, but they get more stringent as each year passes. Let me pose you a question. What was the last consumer product you can remember where the government had to incentivize you to buy it? And when you didn't, introduce laws to make sure you had no choice. Did the government have to ban the production and sale of vinyl so people would buy CDs, or did they have to outlaw video cassettes to increase the uptake of DVDs? And if I'm not mistaken, I can't recall DVDs and CDs being banned to get us to download it, stream our music and movies either. If EVs are so great, and they represent the future for all of us, why do governments have to incentivize us to buy them? And when we don't, why do they then have to go about banning what we do want? The future of EVs for Ford and GM is far from certain. With EVs proving to be so ruinous for our traditional auto giants, is there still a chance they can adapt and carve out their place in this rapidly evolving market? But what about you? Are you ready to jump ship and go electric? Or are you sticking with gas for now? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay tuned for more electric updates.